Action! Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking, from indie film to studio films to high-end TV to documentaries and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to royally F it up, in a very, very humble opinion. I'm Giles Alderson. I've been away a couple of weeks. I'm over in Bulgaria at the moment. We're in prep for a movie over here that's currently shooting in the UK, and a part of it is shooting in Bulgaria, and it's been really fun. Going through lots of bits and pieces, how we get it made, how we get trucks over the carnets, what bits are shooting here, and what builds are happening. It's full on. It's great in producer mode. I'll tell you more about that when I can, but for now, it's cool. Having a good time, so that's where I've been. Have you missed me? Nah. But regardless of that, yeah, you have. Regardless of that, we've got updates on Sessions coming soon, which is my directed and written film with Dan O'Reilly, which stars Rupert Graves, Leo Gregory, produced by Lucinda Rose Takra, and Dan and Carlos, and such an amazing team. I'm so excited for this movie. It's going to make such a difference to so many people. Well, I hope it will, because it's got that message, and it's an amazing thriller. But the trailer will drop pretty soon. News on Sessions coming soon, and yes, you can probably hear the smile on my face. But while I'm here in New Bojana Studios in Bulgaria, in Sofia, Bulgaria, we're also now diving back into Samadiva, so we're back into the post on that, where the SFX and grade and sound mix and score. Yeah, man, I'm in a movie studio. It's really cool. I love it here. Come and check it out. New Bojana Studios, they have standing sets in New York and London, and obviously Dimo was on recently talking about his sales from Quantify. He works at Quantify within the studio here, and if you haven't listened to that episode, do have a listen from a sales agent talking about why they pick films. Dimo Alexandrov, have a look, seek that out. But also Yarev Lerner, who's the exec of this studio, has been on as well, and he was the exec of my first ever movie, The Dare, and he's also of my latest movie, Samadiva. So he's an amazing man, and he has been on the podcast talking about what an exec does at a movie studio and why he picks projects and why he picked my project, The Dare, and me, essentially. It's really interesting. That's Yarev Lerner, and that episode is, God, it must be 2-3 years ago, but seek it out. Our website, filmmakerspodcast.com, and then go to the search bar and just write their names. Any of those interest you? Amazing. So today on the show, Dom is off as well on his own cinematic adventures. So you have the amazing Conor Boru as the guest host. He's the director of When the Screaming Starts. He's also an actor and an amazing person. And he's joined by a phenomenal guest. It is the brilliant writer and director Lee Kirk to talk all about his brand new feature, Nimrods. So if you grew up, can't even speak, I'm so tired, up early here and to bed late. If you grew up on 90s road movies or spent your teenage years blasting Green Day, the band Green Day, this is the episode for you, because Lee breaks down how the film was born from a direct conversation with Billie Joe Armstrong himself, the lead singer of Green Day. The film details the journey of 3 kids in a band trying to drive across America for a New Year's Eve gig. This is Nimrods. It's a great title. We get into the nitty-gritty. Well, Conor does. I'm saying we as a whole, the Filmmakers Podcast as a whole, but Conor and Lee get into the nitty-gritty of shooting on location in Oklahoma City, blending modern cinematography with vintage camcorder footage so you can nail that like authentic, nostalgic feel, and how Billie Joe's sons also ended up writing an entire album for the film's fictional metal band Cannibal Death March. It is a brilliant episode, all about the grind of independent filmmaking. It's a brilliant chat about that. Can't say brilliant episode anymore. I'll try and say chat. I'll try and get better at this. It's only 500 and how many episodes. They also talk about the importance of the edit and why you should never wait for someone else's permission to make your movie. What else do they talk about? Crafting 90s nostalgia, I've said. Shooting on locations. The edit suite. They talk about the edit suite. Why a film is truly made in the edit, and with the absolute necessity of being ruthless with your own script. And the big one, stop waiting for permission. Stop it. Just stop it. He's got some amazing advice for aspiring directors. I'm not going to tell you what that is. You're just going to wait. So keep an eye out for Nimrods, the movie, on the festival circuit, and upcoming release schedules. I will put links out there. The podcast will, which is me, when Nimrods is released somewhere else. I will probably spout some rubbish at the end of this episode, or wisdom, sorry, cut. Giles, edit out that. Wisdom at the end of this episode, so stick around. I might fill you in a little bit more about what I'm doing here at the movie studio right now in Bulgaria. But for now, this is the amazing Conor Boru talking with the writer-director Lee Kirk on directing Nimrods and Indie Hustle. Enjoy, kids.
Hey, Lee, how you doing?
Great. Happy to be here, man. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm just making sure everything's recording nicely for us.
Fantastic.
And then we'll get rocking and rolling.
You need a little sound check from me?
Yeah, sounding good. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear. Yep. Right in the old AirPods. Gotcha.
Lovely. I'm still in the old school, man. Gone analog with
I know.
The wired ones.
I like it. I love it.
All right. Lee Kirk, welcome to the Filmmakers Podcast.
Thanks, Connor. Great to be here, man. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. So, little bit of context for you. We are a filmmaking podcast, is in the name. We're all filmmakers ourselves, the hosts, and we love to dive deep into the whole process that goes on behind the camera. And our audience are absolutely obsessed with this stuff too. So we'd love just to get a little bit of an insight into your whole process, your directing style, all that good stuff. So jumping straight in, how did this idea for Nimrods come around?
Sure. Yeah. So it started when Billie Joe Armstrong reached out to me and just said he had an idea for a Green Day film and wondered if I was interested in kind of exploring it and figuring it out and making it. So I said, yeah, of course. What's the idea? You know, and the basic, it was very simple, but the idea was it was about a New Year's Eve Green Day concert and the people who are going to see it. Right. So.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what I had to work with. So we started talking about, well, what could this be? Who could these people be? And that conversation really began with talking about the kinds of movies we liked, and we really talked a lot about the movies that we grew up on, right? So movies like Vacation and The Goonies and Risky Business and Footloose and things like that, and that sort of started to set for me sort of a tone of what kind of a film we were going to make. So. Anyway, so we finally came up with our premise of these three kids in a band who are, you know, on the driving across the country to see Green Day on New Year's Eve, and we came up with a funny reason why.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but then I realized I needed hijinks. I needed fun stuff to happen to these kids along the way, and that's when I got the idea to just kind of quiz Billie Joe, Mike, and Trey and find out some stories from them about, you know, their days of driving around in a van, because there must be, you know, hundreds of them, you know. So
yes.
So we started talking, and they just started giving me all these funny, you know, anecdotes of stuff that happened to them, and I started to use those and kind of twist those, make them my own, sort of you know, twist them around to be part of this story, and then from there, then I just started to even, you know, get more little anecdotes from them of just little details of who they are and put those in the story too. So it ended up being this film that is a Green Day movie, in the vein of sort of a Detroit Rock City, but that it has Green Day's fingerprints all over it. And so the hope is that you get to the end of the movie, and although it's not the story of Green Day, you get a sense of who these guys are and what they're about, and the fun they've had and the music they've made.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a wild ride. Much like the characters, I feel like the film takes you on a real journey. You've got like the romance, the drama, the comedy. There's like a little bit of horror at one point as well, which I wasn't expecting. Yeah. Was that moment a real story that happened?
That's a real story. I couldn't have made that one up, man.
Wow. Okay. You got to check it out because you will not believe that this is a real thing. I won't put any spoilers in, but unbelievable. I mean, I can imagine they had so many stories. And so you collaborated with them writing the screenplay. Is that how it worked? And you sort of bounced up the ideas and then got into the nitty gritty of the actual story and structure.
Yeah, exactly. Once I got the sort of these ideas from them, then I went off and I just wrote the script. Okay. And then, And at that point, I finished the script. I sent it to Billie Joe. He and I had done another film together, so we had a sort of a dialogue already, a film dialogue going. So I
Yes.
just sent him the script. He read it and had a couple of notes, and so I went back. I made a couple changes, and then I sent it again. And he said, "I think we should show this to the band." So he wasn't as interested in sending it to them to read. I don't think he, I don't know if they've ever even read a screenplay. So he thought what we should do is do a reading and let them hear it. So that was fun. We got a bunch of actors together and we sat in a room and we read it to Billie Joe, Mike, and Trey and their extended sort of Green Day family. And it was just a hoot. And it went off great. And they were like, thumbs up, let's go, green light, So then it took like 4 more years to make the movie, of course, as it always does.
Yeah,
but
always the way. Yeah, these things always take a bit of time, but I can see the amount of love and care and attention that's gone into it. On that note, I mean, like Green Day are just absolute legends, and for me, watching it, listening to it as well, it was just like it's just so nostalgic. It just brings you back, and I actually forgot how many absolute bangers they have, and I've just been listening to their tracks on repeat since I watched the film.
Amazing.
When you're like collaborating with someone like Green Day and you have this amazing catalog to work with, how does that inform the writing process? Are you listening to all the tracks before and getting inspired? Are you writing scenes and then you're trying to find the track that fits? How did that side of things work out?
Sure. That's a great question. This was a unique luxury that I'll probably never have again as a screenwriter to be able to listen to this entire catalog of music and know any song I want, I can put it in the movie.
Yes.
That's just, I mean, that doesn't happen, so that's what I did. I listened to everything. I knew a lot of their music, but there's a lot I didn't know. And I was so impressed just going deep into their catalog and listening to all these just hidden gems in there, this really great stuff. And I decided what I wanted to do was I wanted to use music that spanned their entire career. And then I wanted to find unique ways to use it in the movie. So it's not just needle drops, but sometimes it's score, sometimes it's kind of it's sung by the characters and then it becomes kind of score in the movie, and sometimes it's just performed in the movie. And then the other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to find a whole range of their music. So some hits and some deep cuts, some hidden gems, this all kinds of fun stuff. And probably about 80% of the songs that are in the film were in there in the script stage. So to answer your question, yeah, I would as I was writing, I was kind of picking music that I felt it fit the tone of the moment, it fit the scene, it somehow enhanced things. I like to do that already as a screenwriter, but this time I knew I could actually use the song, Most of the times you realize we're not going to afford this song, but this time I could. So I would really use the songs and they would help influence the writing and influence the story. For example, there's a moment early in the film where the boys are trying to get some booze. They're outside a liquor store. It's a little montage. And I used an old demo of Green Day's for that montage, because at that moment in the film, the boys are kind of thinking about writing a demo, making a demo kind of thing. And it just felt appropriate that we use an old demo of Green Day. So that's an example of sort of how I went about like picking songs that kind of fit the moment of the story and the tone of the story.
Yes.
And then of course in the editing room, there was a few changes that I made when I got in there and realized, there might be a better song that works, in the cut. So, but most of it was in there at the beginning.
I love that. And it's great that Green Day have such a like diverse selection of tracks, because I can imagine with some bands, it might be a little bit one note, whereas they just have like the really upbeat stuff, the slower, more sentimental kind of dramatic stuff. So you had a real good range.
Well, that's a really good point. I just want to make a point about that. The movie does have a lot of, it's comedy, drama. It can be sad at points. There's a love story. That's what their songs are. They write a wide range, about a wide range of topics and feelings. And so for me to capture them fully, I had to have a movie that did that as well.
Yes. And as much as Green Day were phenomenal as always, there was another band we should probably talk about a little bit. The Analog Dogs, aka the Anal OG Dogs.
Yeah.
How did that come about? I mean, this is a fictional band, right? This is something that has been invented for the purposes of the film. How did you go about conceptualizing who they were going to be. Because one quick sidebar, I directed a feature, my debut, and we came up with a fictional band, like a death metal band. But the
Nice.
guy I was writing the film with, he was the lead actor. It went out of control. Him and his brother ended up writing a whole album based on
Amazing.
this fictional band, Cannibal Death March. And I wanted to know
Amazing.
your process, because it's like almost a whole huge piece of work you've got to do. That's just actually, you know, a small part of the film, but actually a lot of work around that.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right, man. There was so much thought that went into the band, and, you know, and that's not just the type of music, but it's also the casting, you know, and sort of what they sing about, the name of the band. It all kind of fit into, you know, it all took a lot of thought, but specifically the music of the band. I knew that first of all, they had to be good. Like, you know, if they suck, you're kind of like, I don't know how much you still root for them, but maybe not as much, you know. So
You don't believe it. You don't believe it as much, do you?
you don't believe it. Exactly. You have to believe that they would believe it. That, you know, that they would believe in themselves enough. So, but then I asked Billie Joe's son, Jacob Armstrong, who's a musician. He's got a band called Ultra Q, if he would write the songs for Analog Dogs. So him and Billie Joe, they wrote their songs. So
All right, you're in good hands.
yeah, I'm in good hands, man. So I'm in good hands. So, you know, I gave them a little bit of marching orders of what I thought the tone should be and what it should feel like, and then Jacob sent me these songs, and it was he sent me 4 songs, and they were all just really great songs, and, you know, so I sort of picked the ones I wanted to put in the film. Um, and that was sort of the beginning of it. But then, you know, like I said, then it was there was other choices that went into the band to make them feel authentic. It was so important to me. Authenticity was such an important part of this story that I really, you know, I wanted this to feel like a real band, you know, with all of the dimensions that go into a band, the relationship and the emotions and the, you know, the insanity that, if you look at Billie Joe, Mike and Trey, I mean, that they're a high school band that just made it, you know.
Yes.
So it was important that we get the band right.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that actually, because I suppose that made the casting process, well, I can imagine in some ways more tricky, in other ways maybe it limited your options. How did that work? Because I'm assuming you had to find actors that already played instruments,
Yeah.
assuming they could already sing, etc., because otherwise it'd be a lot of work to train them all up in advance.
It started with Mason Thames.
Mm-hmm.
Mason Thames. He was the first one. He could sing. He's a singer. And so I met with him. He was in. That was I was so happy to have him on board. And then it was a matter of filling out the band around him. And we spent a long time. We sort of scoured the nation with our casting director, Mary Beth Fox, looking for these other 2. And it took a long time to find them. And again, it was just finding the right chemistry. That was really what I wanted to find was the right chemistry with these 3 kids. And so then when we found them, I had them we shot in Oklahoma City. So I had them come out to Oklahoma City a few weeks before and just start working on the songs. And yeah, they would get in there and rehearse, and it was a beautiful thing. It didn't take them very long to figure it out, you know. And one thing that was important to me was I wanted the music to be live in the movie. So all the music has been recorded live in the film.
Oh wow, that's great. Yeah, I didn't realize, but
Yeah.
it sounded authentic. I was going to ask that question actually, but that's
Yeah.
really comes across.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, it was important to me that we did that. So, so the one person who wasn't playing, Mason actually does not play guitar, but he sings. So we
Right.
had to kind of cheat the guitar a little bit for him, but everything else was just recorded live and happened in the moment. It was really fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine a hell of a lot
Yeah.
of fun. And also, though, the music being obviously just a huge part of this film, but just the chemistry, a lot of it isn't even about the music. It's just the dynamic between these 3, and they've all got such clearly defined personas. They're like a weird bunch together. And
Yeah.
there's just, it works so well. So I'm always interested. Do you get a chance to get them in a room before making your final casting decisions? Or is it just like, right, there's a little bit of just trust in the process, trusting that it's going to all come together on the day?
Yeah, well, there is a little bit of trust for sure. What we did, because, you know, we were not a huge budget movie, was we got them all on a Zoom together. And so at least I could watch them interact with each other.
Yeah,
And that's kind of the best we could do in terms of that. But I had a pretty good feeling that these 3 were going to work together. And like I said, then we showed up a couple weeks early. and we rehearsed scenes, which really for me is really just talking through scenes,
Mhm.
answering any questions about that anybody has, so that on the day we're not asking about motivation or what just happened before. We've kind of answered those questions so we can just dig in and play the scene and have fun with the scene. So we did rehearsals, and they worked on their music, and they
Mhm.
just gelled. They just gelled. By the time we started shooting, it was there. They were walking around like they were a real band. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you really buy into them as a trio, and also the wider cast as well. Fantastic. We got Jenna Fisher. Was it McKenna Grace as well
Yeah,
as
McKenna
Olivia?
Grace is in
As
there.
Olivia, like
Yeah.
I mean, she's a singer as well, right? Just outside of her acting career.
She is, and actually, she was, that role wasn't a singer. It was when I cast her and I met with her and she was talking to me about all her music, and I realized, "Oh, this is kinda perfect if we have McKenna." We changed Olivia to she's a singer. She has a band, and we use one of, McKenna's songs in the film.
Yes.
And so that was just that was like an inspired decision, inspired by her being, sort of using the skills that she brought. I was like, let's use that. That sounds amazing. And she wrote this amazing song for the film called "It's So Fine" that's on the soundtrack. That was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I think it was cool, the sort of symmetry between both of them following this dream, and the chemistry between them, and it was fantastic.
Thank you.
So when you're working on a road movie, I've got a couple of questions. I've never made a road movie. I've written a couple. How is it logistically as a filmmaker? Because I can imagine
Mm,
it's a little bit tricky, maybe, because sometimes, independent films, you want to keep locations minimal, stay in, like,
yeah.
a couple of places, maybe one, two, three. But being out on the road, so many locations, so many new characters constantly coming into the plot. You can never really like stick in one place and set up your craft services and your crew and everyone else. You're constantly on the road. Plus, there's all the like logistics of filming, driving.
Yes.
How is it filming a road movie from your perspective?
Well, everything you're saying is correct. There's a lot of challenges. I had a great first AD, Rachel Jensen, who was so instrumental in helping with that, and a great locations guy. But so I wanted the road trip to feel like an Americana road trip, sort of
Mhm.
off the grid, right?
Yep.
So the reason I chose Oklahoma City to shoot, besides the tax credit we got, was that old Route 66 moves kind of through Oklahoma City. And I don't know if you know Route 66, but it's an old
Mhm.
highway from back in the day. And it's still there, and you still have all these kind of funny old locations there, these little old gas stations and towns and things along the way. So we set up in Oklahoma City so that we could only be driving, 30 minutes to a location on Route 66 each day to shoot. And that was the way we tackled it. And because it was true. I mean, I wanted to feel like we're moving,
Mm.
we're moving along down the road, and so that felt like, but we didn't have a ton of money to, like, go to
Yes.
Arizona and shoot, and go to Texas and shoot. So we had to kind of make do with Oklahoma City, and find as many ways to cheat and make it look like we're moving along, and hope the weather cooperated, which it did, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, a lot, and then driving shots, and that's just I've done driving shots before, but this was a lot more, and
Mhm.
there's so much that goes into those, just setting up the car for
Yep.
shooting is just takes a long time. There's just so many variables that can happen. So, luckily we didn't have any major problems, but, just setting up a driving shot for a day it takes a long time. So, my approach to acting, directing actors is always like, just show up prepared. If you just know your stuff, we can really nail it, and we can have fun with it. And so I really, in the boys, I really said, guys, just please know your lines backwards and forwards when you show up on set. And part of it was thinking, because that's how I like to direct. I like to have them loose and be able to, be flexible. But also, I knew there might be some days where we don't have a lot of time. So we can't be, stopping and starting because people don't know their lines or whatever. So
Yeah. It can really slow down the production when there's not much time. On a
yeah,
bigger feature, when you have more time, you can have the luxury of, let's go again. But when it's like every minute counts, you just have
yeah,
to fill your boots and get as much in the can as you possibly can.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
on that note, then you mentioned like learning the lines backwards. Is it quite planned out? Like, are we talking storyboards? Are you sort of like really structured? You know exactly what shots you're getting? Is it a little bit more like, okay, let's kind of get to a location, work out on the day? Is there any improv? Like, what's the sort of ratio between like
Sure.
planning and finding the scene on the day?
Yeah, I don't storyboard, but I do have a general idea of what I want to do. I do shot list with my DP, so we kind of know, we walk the location, we figured out where we want the camera to be, and all those different shots that we're going to need. But then I go into it ready to find the scene. So sometimes your plan doesn't work, and you kind of you frame it up and look at it, and you go, "This is lifeless," or it's just something's not working about this, and so we need to pivot. I actually kind of like when that happens because I feel like it inspires everybody on the set to to find a solution, a great creative solution, and capturing something in the moment is always what you want to do. When you're shooting a film, you want to capture something that's spontaneous instead of feels rehearsed. So, yeah, so I keep a pretty loose approach. I like to keep everybody loose. I like to stay loose. I don't like to get stressed out or anybody to feel stressed. And I kind of try to look at it like, if there's an extenuating circumstances that has screwed up our day, how do maybe we can use that in a way to make it work in the film.
Yes.
If it's snowing and we're supposed to, be a clear day. Well, this is it. It's like you were saying, like this is not a big budget film. We gotta get something in the can today. So how do we make it work? And so far I've that approach has worked for me. So that's just how I like to do it.
Yeah.
Stay loose.
Were there any days though that really challenged you, like anything like that? Like you mentioned the snow, but anything that just kind of like derailed the shoot, or anything that just caught you off guard that you weren't expecting?
Well, okay, so there's a scene at the Hole. The Hole is like a punk house, basically, place that the kids stop where there's all these kids playing punk music and they're partying.
And the Harley drivers.
Yeah, and they're all
That bit was, yeah,
they're all partying there. It's like this place where it's
yeah.
and it was an old junkyard that we turned into this, like, we put a stage up and we put a half pipe and we got all these kids and it felt like,
Oh,
that place.
yeah, sorry, I was thinking of the metal, like the Harley Davidson drivers. I know the senior.
Yeah, where the band's playing and all that kind of stuff, and he meets Olivia.
Yeah.
And so there was a scene there where we wanted to do in the rain, right? And it goes back to talking about using stuff from Green Day's past. There's an iconic moment of them in their past playing in the rain. So I want to do that in the film. So we're all set up, and it's like 15 degrees out there, man. And we've got all these extras who are going to be doused, in rain. And it became clear, like, this is going to be one, we're going to have one shot at this. We can't spend all day with these kids in rain. Like, this is just not going to work. They're all going to get sick and it's going to be a disaster. So that was the kind of thing where it's like, okay, let's really make sure we've got all our bases covered here. We got every angle covered. I think we brought in a second camera that day, knowing it was going to be 15 degrees, and let's and we had the camcorder going. I was like, let's use the camcorder. Let's get footage from that too. That maybe we'll splice into it, because it was going to be one shot, And it's moments like that where you go, okay, we got to figure this out. There's not another day we can do this. It's going to be 15-degree day in the rain. That's what it's going to be. But it worked out,
You made
works.
it work.
Yeah. So I was very grateful.
I love the I know that wasn't the only reason you used it, but the DV kind of old camcorder footage throughout was a lovely touch. It adds that kind of nostalgia. For me, it brings me back to college, because that's the kind of camera they gave us to make movies with when we were starting out.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the time you're like, oh, this isn't the best. But now I look at it and it's kind of cool again. Everyone wants to go analog, much like the band. Everyone's trying to get back to that simpler time, and it's actually something I was interested in, because obviously, like, when you think of Green Day and when they came about, and we didn't quite have the same level of technology, and I feel like maybe even the younger generation, everyone's sort of maybe trying to get away from their phones a little bit more, and I love that, like, in this, there was moments where, like, they got the flip phones, and then even those get chucked at certain points. Like, what is it you think about this, like, 90s, 2000s nostalgia that everyone's really connecting with and responding to?
That's a good question, man. I mean, I think the sort of visceral feeling of it. I think the you know you right now you shoot a video of something, or you take a picture of somebody, and you can check it 5 times and do it again and again and again and again and again. And you take but when I was a kid, you took a picture and then you got it back from the photo place and your eyes are closed. You're like, oh well, you know what I mean? Like, but I think
That's it.
there's an appreciation for that that's starting to happen. Of kind of living in the moment. And so that was really important for me to have that in the film. One thing you brought up, the camcorder, like I was thinking of like skate videos. Skate videos were kind of started really in the
Yes.
90s, and I wanted to like kind of have this kind of that kind of texture in the movie. Again, nostalgia for sure for me. And but also I knew that, like, if used correctly, if we put in that camcorder footage at certain moments, it will kind of instantly become nostalgic for the audience. They'll instantly be remembering this trip or thinking about this trip because it's, it's got that grainy footage to it. So that was kind of an idea from the start, and that was why I called the band Analog Dogs, because I was thinking, how do I put this camcorder footage in and not have it feel like I've just like it's a device that I'm using, but it feels organic to the
Mhm.
movie. And so I thought, if Tommy's into analog, he's got a band called Analog Dogs, and he's likes, recording on a 4-track, and he's not into a smartphone, he's got a flip phone. Then a camcorder makes sense too, and then it just kind of felt like it's part of the DNA of the film that we can throw in all these older references or older objects, like an old cab that they drive around in, and it feels just natural to the movie. So that was the kind of that was how that all kind of started. It started with the name Analog Dogs, and then I kind of just picked and chose what kind of things I could stick in there.
Yeah, but that really worked, and like it really feels it feels nostalgic, but it also feels fresh, which is I
That's
really
great.
like. I really liked how you managed to sort of traverse both things.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, because we're drawing towards the end of our time here today. Is there anything specific that you've learned on this film that you didn't maybe know too much about before, that you're going to take forward now into your next films?
Absolutely. So my first, this is my third film.
Hmm.
I didn't go to film school. I was an actor who had a lot of time on my hands, and so I learned how to write a screenplay and wrote many bad screenplays, and but kept trying to learn. And then I was lucky enough to make a couple films, and so this is my third film. And what I learned from my first 2 films is that when I got in the editing room, the one thing that I wished I had done a better job of was the script. I wish I'd just done a better job. I wish I'd been harder on the script, and put it through its paces more. So with this film, I really tried not to settle for anything, and I was rewriting the script up till like the day of, stuff. Sometimes I tweak things, but I just kept thinking it can be funnier, it can be more dramatic, it can be more exciting. I know it can be, and I've just got to find. So I'd give it to people, I do readings of it, and I just didn't want to settle, because there's nothing worse than the feeling in you're in the editing room and you can't solve something that's just kind of boring. You know what I mean? It's like,
Nope.
I can't fix this. I can only cut it, but I can't
Yeah.
fix it. And so I just thought, I'm not going to let that happen again. And so when I got in the editing room, I didn't have that on this film. Hopefully, hopefully it's not just in my head, and other people also feel the same way. But I didn't feel bored by what I put together. I felt excited by it, and I think it was really because I just never gave up on the script. I just kept assuming it needed a little bit more work.
A little bit. I love that, and I'm the same. Writing writing is rewriting, as they say, and I think that
Yes.
starting out, I didn't realize quite how many drafts go into making something good. You think, oh, I've done like 2-3 drafts, like I've done a lot, but I mean, how
Yeah.
many drafts are we talking from your side, do you think, Lee, on this one?
Oh, I mean, it's probably, ultimately, probably 15 drafts if and what, in the past, I would give it to people, and if they said, it's good, I like it,
Mm.
I would take their word for it. Okay, it's good. Yeah, they liked it, and I wouldn't press. I wouldn't press,
Yeah.
and now I press. Now I'm like, "Oh, man, give me
It
come
can
on.
be just a little bit better.
Dude, yeah, come on. What joke doesn't work? Where were you bored? What, what can I do to just tweak it even slightly to make it better? So that was the lesson.
Much better to do it when it's just you with a laptop as opposed to being on set with dozens of people all looking at you like, what do we do now? Or this joke's not landing. It's like, get it done. It's cheaper, it's easier, it's less pressure.
Absolutely.
Just get it down on the page. Okay, so last question then.
Yeah.
This film is all about chasing those impossible dreams, not taking no for an answer. Other than the writing advice you just shared, what other advice would you give to our aspiring filmmakers at home who are looking to make their first film, their next film?
Yeah. Well, you have the power to do it. That's the beautiful thing about technology today. And I would say, don't wait. Don't wait for someone to give you permission. Make something. Make my career as a filmmaker started when my friends and I, we just did that. We just made a film, and it's so empowering when you have something to look at, and you go, I made this. And but then I would say also be realistic, be hard on it, not hard on yourself, but hard on it, and look at what you've made and figure out how can you make it better? How can you improve? I mean, so I feel like we have the ability to, it's like, you recognize what a good movie is. We all can recognize what a good movie is. So we know what works, and so I feel like you make a 5-minute film and you can look at it and say, what did I do wrong here? And then make another one, and then make another one. And that's what I did. I just kept making films and trying to learn each time. And I'm still learning. I don't feel like I've, even come close to learning everything about how to make a film. But I would just say, get in there, do it. Don't wait for permission. You don't need permission from anybody,
Absolutely love that. Lee, thank you so much for your time. Anyone, if you're a Green Day fan, check out Nimrods. If you're not a Green Day fan, check out Nimrods. You're going to have a fantastic time. Lee, thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Great talking to you.
Cheers, Lee.
Thanks, Connor. That was awesome, man.
Enjoyed that, mate. Honestly, really, really great. Fantastic film. I'll be sharing it far and wide to get everyone to get eyeballs in the UK.
That means a lot to me, man. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Take care. Okay.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Well, wasn't that epic? Lee Kirk, everyone. Nimrods, check it out when you can. Festival circuit coming up. And what a guy Conor is, right? He's a great interviewer. He's really good. I love his voice as well. I told him this. He's got a radio voice. Conor will be listening now, I imagine. Hey, Conor, you're amazing. Love you, buddy. We've got some really cool episodes coming up, by the way. You're gonna love them. I don't remember what they are because I'm in an echoey room in the studio. So, it's a summer season of movies coming up, which leads us into the Oscar season. It seems crazy talking about Oscar season now, but this is where we start prepping in Oscar season, and Dom Lenoir is doing his bestest, his mostest to bring in some amazing guests for you. So if you like this podcast, which I know you do because if you're listening right now, you've got this far, and you can't hate it if you've listened this far. So do me a favor if you haven't already, and you'd be surprised by how amazing it is for the podcast, for us, if you write a nice review or if you give it a like, a share, tell your friends. I've said this a few times, but I mean it. It's your call to action, and it makes a difference to us doing this when we can and doing it on our days off or in between filmmaking or editing or producing, whatever the fuck we're doing. So for you, lovely lot who are listening now, literally go on your device of choice. Do it now. Go to it and go 5 stars. Thank you. Thanks for being amazing. Well, thanks for being rubbish. Thanks for being a bad host, Charles. Don't do that, please. I'll cry. I won't, but I might. And you don't want that on your conscience. So let's talk about a little bit of topic of the week because I'm here and you can clearly hear I'm a little bit excited for shit at the moment, or just giddy, or just tired, or all three of those things. I've been having great chats with Lucinda Rhodes-Tucker at the moment as well about our next projects and the things that are happening. And I'm very excited for those and for you as well. And I think this is why we can talk about the topic of the week is stop waiting for that magical green light. Lee hit the nail on the head when he said his career started because he and his mates simply made a film instead of waiting for permission. And I want you to do that. So those of you who are sitting on your hands, As too many filmmakers spend years waiting for that elusive producer, some grant from the BFI, filling out forms for months, then getting disappointed when you wait for that. And you're in those WhatsApp groups and everyone's going, hey, have you heard? I didn't get it. And you go, yeah, neither did I. And it's shitty and it's horrible. Or you're also waiting for some industry gatekeeper to validate you. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. If you believe in your project, work out how you can get it made. Work out how you can do this. I come back to Richard Miller, who made Repeat, starred Charlotte Ritchie, the leading ghost on TV and the film as well. She's an amazing actress. She's in Legend as well on TV. Tom Burke is brilliant. She's brilliant. Just reached out to her. We made it for nothing. We made it for about 12 grand. I sold that in the US for 20k. MG. They gave us 20k for that. I know it took a long time to come and Richard might not have got all that money yet. But that was the point. He'd made the budget back. But he just didn't wait for permission. There's a brilliant episode with him on the podcast. Seek that out of how he did it at his house. How he did that with his own money and worked out how he could shoot this movie, which is brilliant, by the way. Repeat is a fantastic movie. I'm proud that I produced that movie. I was part of that movie. So don't wait for anyone. Lee has got this exactly right. Lee Kirk here. So don't sit on your hands. Don't wait. You know, I do this every week and say, as much as I can when I've been around, or when I want to give you that empowerment to go make your films. Don't sit on your hands. Don't wait for anyone else. You're the person with the permission. You're the person to say yes to this film. And even if it is you and your mates in your friend's house in the woods, what are you waiting for? Go learn. Go fuck up. Get it wrong. It's okay. Don't expect to make an Oscar-winning movie on your first try. How many people do that? Not many. How many years of the Oscars? 68? Right. How many of them were first-time filmmakers? Right, let's put it into perspective. Don't overthink it. Be good. Get better. Be a better person for that as well. And never ridicule anyone out there who's trying to help you. And the other side of that is, why should anyone help you? What are you bringing to the table? Not just a script and not just you, because you think you're the next Scorsese or whatever. Okay? It is so empowering to go out there and just shoot in the indie trenches. And no one's going to hand you a career. No one is. You have to force it into existence. I did. I am now. I'm forcing it. Square peg in a round hole. You don't feel like you fit in this industry. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. The industry will tell you if you don't. But yeah, you do for now. Go for it. I don't know what's stopping you. And you don't say money. I'm sick of people saying money. Yeah, it's a huge factor. That can't stop you making your film. Because find the money then. Find some investors. You can do that. Easy. Reach out. It's not easy. Don't mean that. It's not easy. But get your shit together. Get your business pack together and go, okay, how much can I make this for? 10k? 12k? Do I need more? Why? Okay, well, if I need 12k, we'll split it up. Let's ask 4 people for 3 grand. That's not much. And those people go, hey, do you know anyone? It's always the thing I do. Don't ask directly, hey, will you invest in my movie? Pitch them your idea and say, hey, do you know anyone who might be interested in this? And if it's niche, if it's about BMXing, hey, you know where to go. The people who like BMXing. If it's about steam trains, go there. Find people who like steam trains. Ask them if they know anyone who might be willing to invest. Find ways in. Don't let people stop you. Don't let the barriers stop you. Don't let the gatekeepers stop you. Don't wait for that elusive producer. Stop it. Go make your films. Anyway, I've had a little rant there, but I felt like I haven't done it for a while. But I want you to be empowered. I want you to be the filmmaker you want to be. And if you're already doing that, I'm proud of you. I am. It's so hard, and you have to be so gutsy to get out there and make stuff happen. You do. But no one is knocking on your door. No one is giving you permission. You be the one that knocks. You be that one. I'm the one who knocks. Right? Breaking Bad it. I mean, don't do that, because meth labs and stuff is probably not ideal. But whatever you need to do to get by. This industry is crazy and it's hard and it's intoxicating and beautiful and magical and all that good stuff. And I love being on set. It's the best thing in the world. And what's cool about being here is I can walk around and see other people making movies and see directors making stuff. And it's a joy to watch. Because you go, oh, that's interesting what they did there. Or, okay, I'd do that. I'm fine. I could step in. No, that's ridiculous. I couldn't. But do you know what I mean? It's that feeling that I'd be okay right now. I'm in a lucky position, but I've worked my ass off to get here. This has been 20 years of solid graft to get to this position. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I'm going to keep going. And you can do the same. Don't let anyone stop you. I mean that. Do something this week. Do something today. Do something now while you're listening. Write some notes. What am I going to do? Do a little plan. Make stuff happen for you and your film. I love you. Be strong, be powerful, and make it happen, but don't be a dick. Right, that was fun. I need to go have some food. I need to call Lucinda back. Conor, you're amazing. Thank you for everything on this episode. Dom, thank you as always. He won't have listened. He doesn't. But I know. And you know. And if you're lucky enough, you lovely people, to rise up and do well, it is your duty to send the elevator back down and help those below you. Until next Tuesday, when... Oh, we have George Jakes. Oh, he's back on for his second one, talking about Sunny Dancer. This film's going to be ace. I can't wait to finish it. I can't wait. It's cool. George Jakes is on next week. What a great director and person he is. Next big rising star. So look forward to that. Until then, I've been Charles Alderson. I don't know if I have. I feel like I'm half here. I'm half man. Half asleep. Until next Tuesday, you lovely people. What do you need to do? You know. Bye.